Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a seriously fascinating journey. We're going to start all the way down at the microscopic level, the tiny little bricks that build us, and work our way up to the complex house that is the human body. We'll explore our foundational tissues and see exactly how they power one of our most vital processing plants, the digestive system. So, let's just dive right into it.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with the body's fundamental building blocks, looking at epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous tissues. From there, we'll zoom out to see the digestive engine in action, and we'll wrap up by looking really closely at how villi absorb our nutrients.
Section 1, the body's building blocks. Now, this is almost mind-boggling, but large, complex animals like us, we're constructed from just 4 foundational tissues.
That's right, just 4. Epithelial, connective, muscular, and nervous tissues. To make this super accessible, think of them kind of like the architectural materials used to build a state-of-the-art smart house. You've got your weatherproofing and lining, which is your epithelial tissue. You have your structural scaffolding, holding everything up, that's your connective tissue. Then you've got the mechanical engines doing all the physical moving, the muscular tissue. And finally, the complex electrical wiring that coordinates the whole house, your nervous tissue. Literally, everything in your body comes down to these 4 materials. Section 2, epithelial and connective tissues. Let's take a closer look at those first 2 essential building materials. First up is epithelial tissue. This stuff covers your body's surface and lines your internal spaces. But crucially, it also forms your glands. And glands are essentially the body's master control centers. They actually come in 2 very different flavors. You have exocrine glands with ducts. Think of them like duct cleaners sending stuff out through tubes, like your sweat glands. And then you have the endocrine glands. These are like a wireless network, pumping chemical hormones straight into your bloodstream. What makes all these epithelial cells particularly special is that they're polarized. That means they have a distinct top and a distinct bottom side, creating this highly organized, protective barrier that always knows exactly which way is up. Next, we have connective tissue. This is the body's ultimate support system. A really fascinating type of supporting connective tissue is bone. Depending on its exact function and where it is in your skeleton, bone can either be compact, meaning it's super dense and heavy, or it can be spongy, which is also known as cancellous bone. And hidden right inside this hard matrix are highly specialized cells called osteoblasts and osteocytes. They're constantly working behind the scenes to maintain your skeletal scaffolding. Section 3, muscle and nervous tissues. All right, we've got the scaffolding and the weatherproofing down, so let's shift gears and look at the body's internal engines and its high-speed electrical wiring. So the absolute most crucial point about muscle tissue is that it contains the cells responsible for contraction. There are 3 distinct types here. We have cardiac muscle in your heart, smooth muscle in your organs, and skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle is what we usually think of in everyday life when we flex our arms or our legs, right? If you really look closely at skeletal muscle under a microscope, it actually has a uniquely striped or striated appearance, and it attaches directly to your bones via tendons to make all your movement possible. Then we have nervous tissue. This is primarily composed of neurons, which are specialized cells that transmit information to other cells. Found throughout your brain, your spinal cord, and all your nerves, they act as this massive, high-speed communication network. By firing off electrical nerve impulses, this tissue stimulates muscle contraction, creates your awareness of your environment, and plays a major role in your emotions, your memory, and your reasoning. It's the ultimate control center. Okay, so we've seen the micro level, we know the basic tissues, but here's the really big question. How do these specialized tissues work together to actually process the fuel we eat? Let's zoom out from the microscopic view and look at the macro level architecture of our biology. Section 4, the digestive engine. We are now looking at the digestive tract as the ultimate biological processing plant, and it's built entirely out of those foundational tissues we just talked about. Think about one of the coolest mechanical features of this engine, the stomach. It uses these guarded muscular openings called sphincters to tightly control the flow of food. You have the cardiac sphincter, which acts as the muscular gatekeeper between the esophagus and the stomach. Then, a little further down, you've got the pyloric sphincter, which guards the exit between the stomach and the small intestine. It's a highly controlled, step-by-step assembly line. And what's really interesting is how perfectly this maps out the macromolecules we consume and what they eventually turn into. The digestive engine's entire job is breaking down giant polymers into usable single units called monomers. Complex carbohydrates like starch are broken down into glucose and simple sugars to give us ATP energy. Proteins get chopped up into individual amino acids so we can build our own body proteins and enzymes. And lipids, that's your fats and oils, are processed into fatty acid chains and glycerin, which are absolutely crucial for cellular energy and for building cell membranes. Section 5, villi and nutrient absorption. So, we've broken the food down into tiny monomers, but how does that digested fuel actually get from inside the intestine into our bloodstream?
Well, to understand that, we first need to define a fundamental physical mechanism, and that's diffusion. Diffusion is simply the movement of substances from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. It's essentially nature's way of balancing things out by moving particles down a concentration gradient. And frankly, without this exact physical property, nutrient absorption just wouldn't work at all.
Imagine we're doing a play-by-play of this microscopic action. Picture a huge crowd of particles all clumped together on one side of a barrier, a region of very high concentration. But over time, they naturally drift into the less crowded area on the other side. They're naturally shifting to balance out the concentration levels. That, right there, is diffusion in action. Now apply that to a villus, the biological structure that takes full advantage of diffusion. The inner wall of your small intestine is absolutely covered with millions of these microscopic finger-like projections. The outer wall of a villus is made up of polarized epithelial cells, and remarkably, it's only one cell thick. That incredibly thin barrier, combined with a rich vascular supply of red blood capillaries and a central white tube called a lacteal, perfectly maximizes the surface area to pull nutrients right into the body. Once those nutrients diffuse across that single layer of cells, they get sorted onto different transportation highways based on their chemical makeup. Simple sugars and amino acids are routed directly to the liver via the hepatic portal vein. After the liver processes those molecules, they head straight to the heart via the hepatic vein. But lipids are a different story. Glycerol, fatty acids, and certain vitamins take a completely different route. They are absorbed by the lacteals and travel through the lymphatic system, which is a network of vessels that carry a fluid called lymph throughout the entire body. I want to highlight a really powerful quote from the source material here. The villi are the vehicles through which nutrients can be absorbed into the body. It perfectly cements the crucial role these microscopic, single-cell-thick projections play. Because without the villi increasing that surface area, and without the fundamental physics of diffusion, our intricate cellular tissues would simply starve. We've covered some incredible ground today, traveling all the way from the 4 basic tissue types that act as the building materials for our bodies, right up to the magnificent digestive engine and its microscopic villi. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. From tiny polarized epithelial cells that somehow know which way is up, to the complex nutrient highways flowing through your villi, which biological structure do you find the most fascinating? Take a moment to really appreciate the incredible architecture inside you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.